that are involved in today's transaction. So we have our fake hedge fund, ICCP, we have Zero Beta, who is doing the margin calculations, we have UBS doing as the swap counterparty to ICCP and therefore receiving and pledging collateral, both initial and variation. Fireblocks is the technology, the wallet technology underpinning the infrastructure for the digital asset. The assets we're using in the simulation are State Street and BlackRock, which have been tokenized by ARCHAX, and they were tokenized on HEDERA public chain. We're going to go through these steps, which is the flow, which is an initial margin, a variation margin, which doesn't happen, and then we're going to have a termination and returning of assets following that termination closeout. Yeah, we'll go through it. I don't need to go through the actual steps. I think it's going to be important to actually see it live. We've sent this through to everyone so you can see all the individual steps as they occur. And then I think we get started. So just to confirm, Rajat, you're in your system, okay? You're able to share your screen. Yes. We are going to start the flows with a very simple initial margin. It sounds simple now because we've done it so many times already, but the initial margin will be auto executed, and this is going to get generated by Zero Beta for the transaction to occur and kick off. So a trade has been entered into, initial margin has been posted, and the wheels are running, presumably in the background. Yuval, just a thumbs up that everything's coming through. We will start the process. So I will show the ICCP admin and share that, and hopefully then we'll see that initial margin has come in ICCP. So an initial margin amount has come in for, you can see it's auto-populated for these two amounts of 500,000 of BlackRock fund, 500,000 of the State Street fund. That's all there. If I look on the UBS dashboard as well, there is also a similar initial margin that is pending from Ironclad Capital Partners, which is 1 million of the BlackRock fund. So these are all executing in the background. I'm just going to refresh on ICCP's admin, and you will see now that first 1 million is complete. So that one is where UBS has sent to Ironclad BlackRock funds of 1 million, and this was all generated by Zero Beta's margin system. And sorry, this one is now completing as well. So let me just refresh on the screen. What's happened with this 1 million is Ironclad has sent to UBS, BlackRock fund and the State Street fund in equal weights. So that was actually quite straightforward. I think just to reiterate that the intention is that the smart contract generates the initial margin. The balances will be known by the margin system of the holdings of the various counterparties, and they will generate a call which asks for various collateral to be posted, and it's all based on the CSA and the agreed eligibility under that CSA. The next step is we're going to have a variation margin. So it's the next day, the swap has moved against Ironclad. Ironclad is now required to post additional funds. And so Zero Beta are going to generate now that VM call. So let me know when it comes in. Okay, Zero Beta 2. Thank you.
Telling it now. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so you can see my screen. We just had that call come in from zero beta. It was affected by them. I'm just going to click on this margin report. So you can see the report creator was zero beta. The margin amount is 204,000. I am the collateral ops at ICCP, well, at the custodian, because this is a custodial account. The custodian is going in and going to release some assets on behalf of this collateral call that's been initiated by zero beta. So I'm going to release them as the operations at the custodian. That margin call has now successfully gone out. However, in the meantime, we have a rogue trader, which is Yuval, who has basically traded out all of ICCP's assets and all of its cash, and they therefore have no margin in which to post for this collateral call. So what's going to happen now is UBS, if I can ask Rajat to actually share his screen.
Sure.
Okay. And so in UBS is GUI. Rajat, can you share that? Okay. Yep, perfect. Okay. So you will see in there that you've got a receive instruction pending. So if you click on that one, yep, click there. And if you if you click approve, so you want that collateral in, so click approve and confirm that transaction. What we're going to do now, what we're going to see now is whilst you've successfully approved that transaction will actually fail because ICCP doesn't have the funds in its account. If we just refresh on that, it's still pending. If you go into the transaction history, actually, you'll see it's failed. Yep. So if you go back to the collateral manager, you can keep trying, and obviously in real life situations, it might not be that it constantly, like, it fails. It might fail once and then the counterparty funds the account. So you can keep retrying. So if you click back into row 3 there, you can try again. So if you click approve again, the counterparty says, don't worry, I'm going to go and fund my account. Actually, they don't. Mr. Rogue Trader out there is still short on his account. So again, if you go back into the transaction history, you'll see another transaction in progress, which is going to fail because they don't have funds. So you can see that it kind of, this story builds up. So UBS now say, we've had enough of this.
You can go also to the transaction log itself, and you can see the error. They're not here in the transaction log. So go to the left and down, all the way transaction log.
Yep.
And if you click on the failures here, click on it. You can see the error, not enough balance to process the move. So it tells you exactly why it was rejected.
Right.
Yeah.
So naughty ICCP, they're in default. UBS now says, look, we've had enough of this. You've said you were going to post collateral. You haven't met your margin requirements. Therefore, we are calling a default, and that default will be notified to the collateral margin system, zero beta, and zero beta now are going to generate the closeout reports. Okay, so I'm going to hand back over to zero beta to generate those reports. Oh, you're on mute, Karen.
Sorry, yes, I'll quickly share my screen and show how the process is done on our end.
Sure.
So so this is our system, and we are now in our position management view. Here we can see a representation of the swap trade that was agreed between ICCP and UBS, and we can see all the details. And of course, you can see the last REM, which was the calculated REM amount earlier, which ICCP was short on. So now I will be triggering the closeout. I will right click on this position, and I'm going to default that. So it has a VM liability of this much remaining. On top of that, I'm going to add some additional fees. It should be legal fees or other penalties. And so this yields a redemption value of 300,000. UBS is to redeem 300,000 from the IM and return the remaining 700 back to ICCP. And the 1 million that was pledged by UBS to ICCP will be returned back to UBS, the full amount. So I'm submitting the report now. Back to you, Natasha.
Great, thank you for that. So in the UBS GUI now, you're going to see 3 new reports. Raja, maybe you can share your screen.
Yeah, okay. I hope it's visible now.
Yep. Okay, so the first one is the closeout default. So it's actually the bottom one in the list of like the 3 new reports, the 300,000. So if you click on that one, what this is saying is the closeout has happened. We did have some nice pop-up language, but it seems to have disappeared actually, Yuval. I don't think it was actually applied into the sandbox. But in the pop-up, it was basically saying that the reason for this margin report is that there was a default and you are now retaining this amount of assets. They're unencumbered. You can do what you like with them. You can sell them, you can keep them. It's really up to you what you want to do with them. So if we scroll down, what you've got here now is a button and you can click on redeem. If you click on that redeem button, that takes you to the ability to redeem the asset. So if you click redeem on that left-hand side, yep.
This one, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, the right-hand side. You click on you can add 300,000. And you can select a destination account. In this case, because we're using ARCHAX as the custodian, the cash will be deposited into ARCHAX accounts on behalf of UBS. And the redemption price is £1 per unit. So if you click confirm on that one, what you can see then in the main screen in terms of last transactions, it should refresh in a second. If you close that out, you will then see that execution, it's been retained. Yeah, okay. So actually, if you go back to that asset screen that you were on before, the previous tab, you'll actually see there, if you refresh, should show the transactions that have been executed. Yeah. So you see the last transaction there, 300,000 was redeemed against cash received into your account. In real life, obviously there is cut-off periods. So because this is a sterling transaction, there is a cut-off at 10:30 in the morning every day, at which point all of the cash transactions will then get processed, or the redemption transactions will be processed, and then funds paid back. So we are very much aware of the cut-off points for various funds. So this simulation, it was done immediately, but in real life, there will be a delay in terms of that settlement, and cash will be received when the fund manager processes that cash back. We are seeing some funds now process it in various batch periods throughout the day, some at the end of the day. So it's really about the eligibility of the fund. When you look at that, you will determine which ones you like and don't like based on the payment processing of that fund. If we go back to the collateral manager, and again, what we've done now is settled the mark to market of the fund. So there's no more swap. That swap has been closed. Now it's a case of returning the assets. In a real life scenario in production, the return of any initial margin will be done on a DVD basis, and it will be released by the custodians simultaneously for each counterparty. We're going to do it sequentially here. And so the first one is that UBS is going to get back its assets from ICCP. So if you click on the one above, you'll see that you are UBS owed 1 million of assets from ICCP. So we are going to process that transaction in the background. just make sure Yuval's doing that one.
Yeah, you just click approve. Just click approve. Yeah, it's waiting for you to approve it. Yeah, that you're willing to
Okay,
get.
so great, excellent. So you've
I'm
now
done.
received back your initial margin from Ironclad, and now you're going to give them back the initial margin less the balance that you took for the swap closeout of 700,000. So if you click the 700,000, okay, you'll be able to confirm exactly, yeah, the two assets there. Yep. And that is basically the process in full. And what we've shown there is that you can redeem the assets that have been posted. There's a quick redemption process. We're not having to wait T+3 to settle assets against clearing systems. You're able to redeem it directly to the fund manager. There's no intermediary layers. There's no there's no additional steps. You're really able to take ownership of that collateral, redeem it, and then repay any IM that was paid.